This is Peter, and you're listening to the Night Party Podcast. I hope you enjoy it, because I don't. Hello, whoa, Antonius Morgan to the show. How's it going, dude?
It's going pretty good.
Talking some Oldboy. This is going to be part 2.
Yeah.
I didn't think this. Oh, Zachary Evergreen here. By the way, if you're not part of the party, you need to join. That's patreon.com/nightpartypod. For only $1, you can get all these episodes early and often without ads. But because this is a part 2, I don't think ads are necessary.
Nah, neither do I.
Yeah. So, where we left off in Oldboy is with the first time Daisu, after the elevator and fight scene, collapses, blood-caked and very injured. And after he collapses, a good Samaritan puts him into a cab and hands an address over, leans his head in and goes, "It's nice to see you again, Daisu."
Yep.
So we've met our villain.
Yeah.
Our heel, our heavy. Right? So now Daisu is getting all healed up by, Mito. And
we need to set the mood.
Well, we will. Got to wait for the fade to happen, dude. And, but as he does, he starts listening to all these tapes that were in that, cookie jar, kind of thing. And these tapes are the interview tapes with whoever captured him, with the warden of this, Yakuza jail cell thing.
Something, yeah.
It's not Yakuza, obviously, but I don't know what else to call it. It's like Korean organized mafia. So, yeah, as he's listening to him, and you just hear all this stuff, why 15 years, know? And what did he do to you, And he's like, well, let's just say Daisu talks too much, and he says, will he be insane, locked away for 15 years? And they go, well, there's things we could do. We could drug his drink.
Yeah.
So that way he'll stay sane, making him kind of even, in a way, more insane.
Right.
I mean, dude, because if you break a clock backwards, it's still going to spin.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, dude, that was poetic. I need to write that shit down. Anyway. So he's listening to all this. So then he goes to his brother. What's his name again?
Ju Huan.
Shu Wan, yes. And Ju Wan's like, go whatever, use whatever table you want. And then he looks up and he knows Daisu, right? And they kind of hug it out. And, they kind of start talking about his situation. Now I'm trying to find it. Can you tell me so I could look for it really quick in my notey notes here?
So they're in like this internet cafe, and he starts talking to his brother. Daisu starts talking to his brother, and is kind of like telling him what's been going on and everything like that, and just kind of pouring it out, and is wondering like what's happening. I guess with like his daughter and all that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then you're right, but then for whatever reason, at the internet cafe, Daisu, he logs into his social media thing that Mito got him, and there's a message from a person named Evergreen.
Yeah.
And it says, I know your cage is a lot bigger now. How do you like it? And then, he's like, fuck, and he goes back over to Mito and interrogates her. He's trying to figure out, like, if she's part of it because she's been talking to this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, And finally, he gets, if I'm not mistaken, a phone call to go next. No, wait. What happens next? Shit. He goes next door because his brother calls him and says, "Hey, I got like a name on that address or whatever."
Right, and it's coming from next door.
It's across the street in the next building.
Right.
So yeah, that's what happens. Okay, so he's also being surveillanced the whole time. As is Daisu from across the way. So when he finally goes over there, it does add up because the person has a camera on him all the time, right? So we're just going to call the villain now Evergreen because clearly that's who it is, okay? So he goes over there and he being Odaisu still has his hammer and he has a sushi knife too.
Yeah.
And he opens the door, he runs in, he goes after Evergreen, he has a knife at him, and he's like, and then we see Evergreen's like badass fucking bodyguard too.
Right.
The white-haired Japanese dude. Yeah, did you know that guy was Japanese and that's why he had 0 lines in the movie?
Interesting. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and apparently he didn't get along with, he was kind of racist. He hated Korean people.
Oh well.
I'm just saying. So, let's see what else. So yeah, now we have the standoff, the hammer versus the pacemaker.
Yeah.
So he opens up his shirt and he goes, "Do you see this, Odaisu? It's a pacemaker. When the doctor installed it, I asked him to do me a favor, to put in a kill switch.
Mm-hmm.
So, the thing is, do you want to know why you were locked up? Because you'll never know if you kill me now."
Right.
And Odaisu's like, "Fuck." Right? And then he goes, "You have 5 days to figure out why I locked you up, or I'll kill Mito." And he goes, "You won't touch her." And he goes, "I'll kill every woman you've ever loved in your life.
Yeah.
And you will never die." Kind of thing. And you're like, oh, shit.
But if he figures it out in 5 days,
then he'll kill himself.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the door and he goes, "Knock, knock, Odaisu. Is that you? Oh, by the way, vengeance. Vengeance is the greatest cure. Oh, hasn't she been tied up long enough?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, you left the door unlocked, you idiot." So Daisu comes running across the street, right? And he goes up, and of course the warden's there.
Yeah. With like a whole bunch of dudes.
Oh, a whole bunch of dudes. And some of them are all still beat up because of the dudes. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah. They're still like limping.
Yeah, from the hallway and shit. So they go in and they grab Daisu and they put him down to his knees in like a crucifix pin kind of situation. And the warden comes down and he goes, "He's a good dentist." And he hands him his card.
Right.
And he opens up his mouth and now he's got gold teeth where all the teeth of Daisu.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh, you're more badass now than you were. You know what I mean?
Right.
You kind of get like, oh, this guy is going to fuck you up, Daisu. You know? I mean, you kind of do. But you see Mito, they have the mattress against the wall and she's tied up in rape position.
Yeah.
Rape is never funny. But there's actually a word for that, and that's what it's called, and I apologize. All right? So don't fucking hate the messenger. Don't cancel me again, bro. All right. Where the hell was I? Yes. She's tied up in the corner. So now they get like one of those dentistry like
the
mouth opener.
Yeah.
You put it underneath where your wisdom teeth would be, and you crank it up, and it kind of holds. And then he gets a hammer, and he goes, "Now I'm gonna age your life, right?" And he goes down, and he starts going. Oh wait, here's some music that plays though. No, this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's like, the first one he does it on the tip, and he just kind of moves it,
right,
and you think it comes out because it makes a sound, but it doesn't. And then, Daisu's just looking up, and he's like, "See? That's what happens to people. They just make stuff up in their head. So stop making stuff up." But here comes the real thing.
Yeah.
Right? And he comes down with it, and it's like right on his teeth, and he goes, and Daisu just starts laughing.
Yeah.
And it freaks them out. And while he's doing that, you could see on his left hand, he's pulling out like the sushi knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's coming out like just a little bit slow and slower, and he keeps laughing. And then all of a sudden, there's a phone call And he answers it. The warden does. And he goes, yeah? No, I got him. Thanks for the party invite. What do you mean? I haven't touched him yet. And then you just see the door open, and you see the bodyguard of Evergreen just open up this book, and it's just like thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Right.
Maybe hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a lot of money. And he goes, all right, boys, let's go. But before, grabs a bat from one of his goons, hits Odaisu once, spits, and then puts it back in his hand.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was good, yeah.
But as he's leaving, Daisu yells, I'm going to cut off your hand for touching Nito's breast. And then the warden turns around and goes, what of my tongue then?
Foreshadow.
Okay, so let's see. Where the hell were we? Oh, that was fun. Where were we? Start talking, damn it.
So, after that, the warden leaves and everything. Daisu gets up and frees Mito, and she's all pissed and yelling at him like, do you trust me now? Do you trust me now? Da, da, da.
Yeah, so we see Evergreen actually go into his high tower. We see his like penthouse for the first time, and he's wearing that stupid like blue windbreaker and that purple hat. Anyway, he listens to Mito sing to Odaisu like through like headphones and such. So meaning we get the idea that he is bugged, right? So Odaisu bangs the shit out of Mito. By the way, they're in a hotel now because they had to leave town.
Yeah.
Right? And Odaisu's like, maybe I should thank them because if I wasn't locked away, would I ever meet Mito? Right? Oh, sorry. All right. So anyway, they're both gassed again at the hotel, right? And then Evergreen comes, he gloats over them. He's got like a gas mask on. And he just starts rubbing like Mito when she's all naked and shit, and he's got a suit on, and it's very creepy. You know, I realized at this point that if there was to be like a Korean like Joker character, it would be this guy.
Kind of, yeah, actually.
Like this guy is Batman villain-esque.
Yeah.
Like he really is. I don't consider him that much of a piece of shit villain as I do as like brilliant, mad genius, you know what I'm saying?
He's like the was the Dr. Moriarty sort of thing.
He's got something going on. He's no Clarence Boddicker, but he's pretty ruthless, right? So anyway, and then he says he's happy and he's getting his like heart like worked on as he's listening to him bang, and he's like, you know, I'm so depressed. I haven't slept in days. So finally, they realize, because the next morning when they wake up after banging, there's a present there.
Right.
It's that purple, the same like
the same purple design that's been on the handkerchief and everything else. Yeah.
So we see that, and you just see Mito and Daisu. They don't even say a word. They're just like standing there, like naked, like staring at this present. You know, and then Daisu opens it, and it's the warden's hand with this signet ring on it.
Right, which was super dope. And then
like, what the fuck? This is what I mean, like Batman villain shit.
Yeah,
this is gangster as fuck,
dude. And it's super funny because like they have the sheet over them, but Mito faints,
and the sheet comes with them.
Yeah, comes down, and then he's
so good,
naked butt.
It's funny because this is the first time ever where we watched the movie of day.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is why it went to fucking 2 episodes. Anyway, so, anyway, Odaisu is, let's see. Oh, yeah. So this is when, after this, they're still Googling Evergreen, and then all of a sudden, Mito just goes, Evergreen Oldboys of St. Catholic School, and then he runs over because he went there, right?
Yeah.
And they look up like the class records, right? So they go to the Evergreen School and they're looking at class records, and for whatever reason,
and they find the yearbooks.
But not only that, they get like a postcard that's also in a purple envelope, and it says, and it says Wu Zhen on it. So they look up Wu Zhen, right? And then they find like all the photographs, but there's one photograph.
Where every Bond villain or every Batman villain fails.
Yes.
You just gave him a little bit too much.
Exactly. So when he goes and he sees that there's a face missing, he's like, who is this? And it's, I think it's Shuwa, if I have my notes correct. Let's call her Shua from now.
Shua, okay.
I think it is Shua. So Shua and Wu Zhen were related, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the name we have to go on. So they go to her sister, and her picture's not there. They whited out her face because, she's dead. It's all weird, right? So as Daisu is talking to his brother on the phone about this, and his brother's in the internet cafe, right? Now, remember we talked about how he knew he was bugged? He goes to the store, and he has a note, and he goes, "I'm bugged. Please find it."
Oh, yeah.
So after he does that, Evergreen starts hanging out in the internet cafe, right? And then when he hears him talking to his brother, and his brother's like, "Oh, yeah, she was a total slut." One of the greatest murder scenes ever.
I agree.
You see Wu Jin press the exit button on the computer in front of him, and a CD comes out, and he looks at it, and he breaks it in half, and he takes it, and he uses it as an improvised shank and fucking kills his fucking brother. Why
he just starts stabbing the crap out of the dude's
like
neck.
prison style, though, where you just grab him and just do it like he gives him exactly what they call in prison a buck fifty. That's what that's called. That's when you shank a guy just hella times and hold him. It's called a buck fifty. So, and then he picks up the headset and he goes, "Is that you, Daisu? See, you got rid of the bug, so I had to surveil you, and your fucking brother died, and my sister was no slut," right?
Yeah.
And shit is heating up. Shit's getting dramatic.
That was super brutal.
Yes. So then we see Daisu and Mito, they walk into a dentist, and he hands him the card, and he goes, "I was recommended this card by a guy that had 6 gold teeth here."
Yeah.
And then, like, it just cuts to the dental aid is, like, all tied up and, like... And then they get the dude's personal information, right? The warden.
Right.
So they get his stuff, and then he goes over... He and Mito go over, and they see the warden. I think his name is Mr. Lee or Mr. Jen. Mr. Park. And he goes, "Do you see this new TV I bought? This whole place is new." And then it's a fake hand.
Yeah.
And then he gives him back his ring, and he goes, "We had to throw out..." Mito goes, "We had to throw out the hand. It started to rot." He's like upset, and I mean, dude, he lost his teeth and a right hand over this shit.
Yeah.
I feel
definitely
bad
not
for the
worth
guy.
it.
It's kind of funny though, because like you kind of think, when I was younger, I'm like, "Oh, he's smart like a fox," and now as an adult, I'm like, he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
he's selling his limbs for money.
And, I mean, I guess it's probably a decent amount of money, but probably not enough. Like,
at least in porn, you leave with those parts. I don't write this shit down, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so let's see, Mr. Park. So then Daisu locks up Mito for her protection. You know, and she's not happy about it, but she even says, because before she knows, when they're sitting there with Mr. Park, she goes, "You were here for 15 years?"
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, "Oh, bitch, you're going to be here for a couple of days." Now, remember, he only had 5 days. So the death happened on January 5th. And
July
the 5th. Thank you. And it starts on August 30th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or 31st, whatever. I don't fucking care. I don't care about months. Fuck months.
Maybe like June 31st or June 30th.
So Daisu follows up on some leads, right? He gets his hair styled by this chick that he used to like go to school with, and she's a gossip, and she's a known gossip, and she finds out like who Xinhua is and Wu Jin, and then she looks at him and she goes, "Oh, you should know. You're the one that told us."
Yeah.
About who her boyfriend was.
Right. Which is one of those things like, wait a minute.
Exactly. So then, this is where this movie kind of cuts its gritty feel and goes for like this. The final third part of this movie is more ethereal and less grit. It is
okay.
It is more a think piece rather than a gritty, like realistic, solid mindscape.
Yeah.
So it all of a sudden goes like Sophie coloring cam, and it's ring, 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 move out the way, you'll get hurt, right? And you see this girl, and she's like riding her bike, and she's got a red bicycle. She's got this summer dress on, and you see Daisu. He's upside down. He's smoking a cigarette, and you see a nun walk by, and she's like, "Dude, fucking knock it off, man."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hold up, sister. Like, I'm out of here. I'm transferring. Leave it be. It's good."
And she smacks him.
Him in the face. So then finally, Shua, she sits down, and Wu Jin comes up next to her, and he lights up a cigarette, and she says, "Don't I know you? You're Daisu." And he says, "Yeah, a lot of people know me. I'm pretty popular." And she says, "Oh, I heard you're pretty funny. Tell me a joke." And then Daisu he says, "Well, I can't just be funny on the spot." And then 2 beats go by, and he goes, "So a son and his dad walk into a public bathhouse." And then, no, really, that's what he says.
Right.
And then she stands up and she says, "I have to go." And here's one of the things I don't like about this movie is the translate. I know children are awkward, dude. I remember being that age trying to talk to girls.
Yeah.
But it's not that awkward.
No.
That's a little bit too,
that was too
on
abrupt.
the nose.
Yeah.
That seems like it happened to the director and he wanted to write it in the movie for revenge. Anyway, now let's see. Oh, yes. So then we see this whole thing where Daisu sits at his desk where he sat at as a kid, and he starts following himself during a day or an afternoon.
Okay.
So Daisu's running, and he sees his teenage self running through here, and he follows it all the way through this cracked window, and we see the memory that's just unlocked by Daisu, where we see Wu Jen and Sunwei, or sorry, damn it, what's her fucking name?
I don't remember, unfortunately.
I think it's Suwa. Yeah, it's Suwa. Thank you. And they're screwing. Well, they're brother and sister. So
yeah, kind of awkward.
Well, I mean, the scene's pretty hot though. So we see Daisu, and for whatever reason, from the place he got his haircut, and because there is a thing that Evergreen says, from the hunter to the gazelle to the fowler to the eagle, it's this proverb, and and Daisu changes it, and it's the numbers are 0604 or 64. It's a proverb from the Bible, right? So then you see Daisu, he walks in, and he's at the elevator, and he's maybe 64, maybe this, that, and he's
trying to figure out the code to get into the penthouse.
He's thinking about, is it floor 64? And he looks, and there's not 64 floors, right?
Yeah.
So that's when he says penthouse, and then there's a combo there, and he goes 6-4, and then press them at the same time, and he's pressing around, and then oddly enough, Evergreen and his bodyguard walk straight in and close the door, and then he hits penthouse and 0604.
Yep.
And then it goes up, and Daisu just goes, "You had sex with your sister." And Evergreen goes,
"I'm sorry, it's not that funny, but it was amazing delivery in the scene."
"Thank you." Oh, what, me or the movie?
Both, really.
Yeah! I gotta go to Hawaii. Yeah! And then, anyway, so they get up to the penthouse. And by the way, this is the most beautiful / worst penthouses I ever seen. There's no couches.
Right.
There's nowhere to lounge around. How are you supposed to roll around with the ladies? There's not even one tiger-like rug or anything. Or buffalo.
It was almost looked more like the Batcave rather than somewhere to actually lie down and sleep.
I agree. It does. And it just seemed very cold and sterile.
Right. Very much so.
So, but there's some things that really light it up. You have these little kind of channel water pools.
Which were kind of neat, yeah.
Yeah, and his wardrobe is amazing. It's this block, and when he presses a button, it opens up into 4 corners.
Yeah.
And That just looks so cool.
That looks super dope.
And his shower was amazing. Dude. Okay. This is something that if the ladies don't know, the reason why dudes get in and out of the shower quickly is because the shower sucks. If there is a dope shower, a man will be in that shower for an hour and a half. And believe me, we're not even playing with ourselves. We're just like, yes. Warm water all over the body at the same time. Because there's nothing worse than when you go to a hotel and the shower hits like your clavicle.
Oh, dude, that's every single one for me.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm not as tall as you, but I'm pretty tall. All right, I've been to shitty motels, and they're like, this shower was invented by the Lollipop Guild. Never thought I'd make that fucking reference.
It's a cheap enough motel, there'll be a yellow brick road in there, too.
So, at this point, we see a flashback of when Daisu is leaving the hotel room. He grabs a toothbrush.
Yeah.
So, when they finally make it to the penthouse, right, that's when Wu Jin goes sick-em. And all of his bodyguards come, and that's when you see Daisu break that toothbrush right away, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's like a John Wick moment.
Dude, this is way pre-John Wick.
I know, this is where John Wick got it from. He taught John Wick how to be John Wick.
Daisu is fucking a man. Dude, he fucks up like 4 guards, and then he goes over to the bodyguard, right? The guy with the white hair, and he goes, go easy, huh? Be nice. And then together they roll up the bodies and move them?
They do, yeah.
I mean, interesting enough, but I just thought it should be mentioned. It's very kind of a cool scene, but...
Right, it was just kind of weird.
It's like, what?
Yeah, why?
It's like, all right, maybe there's some camaraderie. I don't know, maybe there's some understanding.
Like a respect or something.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Then after this, where the fuck are we?
Well, this is when Daisu and the bodyguard go at it.
Oh, no, not yet.
No, not yet?
No, first we have the conversation. So he said, he gets out of the shower and he's getting up and everything else.
Yeah.
And Daisu like grabs a picture on the wall and he shows it and he goes, July 5th. Today, that's the day she died. And you see her like kind of in the back and you see the water.
Right.
And he goes, you had sex with your sister. Like he says it again.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't hear it.
He's just jamming it in there.
And then he says, they said she died alone. So who took this picture, right?
Right.
Now, Evergreen then kind of like goes over him and goes, you didn't let me finish. So he starts talking about the hypnotism.
Yeah.
And he says, so you didn't actually solve my thing. Because I said figure out who I am, but it wasn't why Wu Jian locked me up. That wasn't the question, you idiot. It's why did Wu Jian set me free?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shit. It's like that meme where the black dude has his hands on his face and he flies like forward. You know the one I'm talking about?
I know, yeah.
Everyone knows this is the best meme of all time. And I'm not meme facing. Did you know that's a thing now?
No.
It's called meme facing.
Okay.
Yeah. So be careful. Just saying. Don't cancel me again, bro.
We gotta say that like 10 times an episode.
Dude, that's gonna be one of our t-shirts. And then again will be written in blood.
Yeah.
Total horror movie. So he explains, said, why did you think when I hypnotized you, right? He said, when that phone rang, that dun, 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 he said, everything around you would be activated. Now, I knew you would go to Mito just naturally because we set up the breadcrumbs, right? And then once it rang, she would respond by touching her hand, which would make you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then you see a cool split screen where he goes, do you remember? Who is this? Hello. Do you like your clothes? And you see the split screen of them talking, even with the glasses and everything is really dope. And then he said, making you guys meet each other was easy. The hard part was making you fall in love. Free will and all that good stuff.
Right.
And then he pulls out his pacemaker stopper and he goes, da, 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 and we realize it's a laser pointer.
Yeah.
Now, it still could be a pacemaker stopper. I mean, maybe it just comes with it. It's like a Swiss Army knife pacemaker stopper. And, he kind of makes it move around, and finally he goes to another fucking purple gift.
Right.
And then so Daisu goes over there, and he opens it up, and it's a photo album.
Yeah.
And we see first Daisu, and we see, his wife and their newborn baby.
Yep.
Turn the page. We see another picture. The baby's a little bit older, being held by the mother. Then you turn the next page. You see Daisu feeding this baby, probably aged like 4 or 5.
Right.
Then we turn to another page, and we see her with a Catholic school uniform on, and then we see another picture, and she's at Disneyland, and she's got like a tank top on. She's like 16 or 17. Then we see another picture, and she's working somewhere, and she's 21. Then we see a picture of Daisu and her walking together. Then we see a picture of them in the hotel together.
Right.
And Daisu looks up, and he's like, "Oh, you fucker!"
Yeah.
So then he grabs the scissors that he used to undo the ribbon, and he runs at Wu Jin.
Yeah.
And then the bodyguard steps in, and then it's just silent, and it's just like you don't even hear like the fight. It's just kind of like you hear the glass breaking and everything else.
Well, yeah, because like the bodyguard like throws him like 2 or 3 times.
Oh,
like it's
no, more than
nothing.
that, like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
He throws through every piece of glass available.
And like the final one is crazy though, because that was like straight up like threw him like 15 feet. Like against the window.
Wall glass.
Yeah.
And it shatters like after slowly. Really
that
cool.
was a dope effect.
I know.
Yeah.
I love this movie for this. Dude, that was really good. But then when he's throwing him around, all of a sudden, like you just see like like Daisu's hand goes up and down.
Right.
And then you see him kind of looking around, and you see blood drip out of his ear. Well, he got him with the scissors.
Yeah.
Right. And then you see you see Wu Jin go, Mr. Han, but you can only kind of hear it like a little bit because his eardrum's punctured.
Right. It's like the faraway effect.
Because he wants to say like, back off, kind of stand down a little bit. And Evergreen got this Derringer. Mr. Han gave it to him when he was in the elevator.
Yeah.
And a Derringer, anyone knows, only has 2 shots, right? He walks up and just shoots Mr. Han in the head for like being disobedient.
Right.
But he can't really tell anyway, but he just doesn't want to kill a Daisu, right?
Yeah.
So then Daisu comes over and says, don't let her open it. Like, I can't let her see her open it, and I'll do anything. I'll be your pup. I'll be your dog. I'll be your slave. And he starts running around and like going woof, woof, woof and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then you see, Wu Jin is not really impressed. He's just kind of looking down.
He actually starts laughing.
Not yet.
When he's licking
his shoes, yeah,
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his tie up, but then, but he's laugh crying kind of a little bit.
Right.
And then, but you could see this. It's not enough kind of look on his face though. Like you got to do better. So then Daisu grabs the handkerchief and that pair of scissors, and we see a great effect because you don't see it.
Right.
But you hear it.
You hear it, and you see the scissors close.
Yeah, you hear it.
And like that is a very...
And you see his eyes too.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And his eyes, like the way they must have shined a light in his eyes because like you see his pupils go womp.
Right, they get huge.
He goes straight over to one of those water fountain like pool things and washes out his mouth, and he goes, and you can hear like it sounds like
how much
tongue.
blood and the tongue and everything. Yeah, and
it's super super visceral. It goes down in the water, right, and he just crawls over to Wu Jin and just hands the phone and just like points at it like make sure it doesn't get open.
Right.
Because meanwhile the warden and Mr. Park and Mito are sitting there, and the same exact present is there.
Right.
And his thing was, don't let her open it. I'll do whatever you say.
Yeah.
Now, Wu Jin actually says, keep it closed. And he throws down the pacemaker stopper.
Yeah.
Right, which also happens to be a laser pointer. And then as Woo Jen slowly walks the elevator, Daisu keeps like slamming the heart stop thing.
Right.
But when he presses it, it doesn't do anything. And he's looking, and then Woo Jen goes, "You know what's funny is my sister and I loved each other. Can you do the same?" And he gets into it and just kind of has a slight sad smirk as the elevator doors close.
Right.
And then we get a great scene where we see Woo Jen and his sister, and they're teenagers, and she's about to fall, right?
Right.
And also there's a thing about the reason why he let him go is because Woo Jen also says, it wasn't my cock that got her pregnant, it was your tongue.
Yeah.
So him cutting it off. And remember also, too, there was another thing about tongue originally.
Earlier with the warden.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of things about mirrors in this movie, too, if you actually look back on it. So Woo Jen then is like trying to, bring her back up, and then he becomes the adult version, holding on to the teenage version.
Right.
And then she lets go, and then you just see his hand go like a trigger, and then clock, and then we just see the doors open. Boom!
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah.
It's the end.
All over. Yeah, he is all over the side of the elevator.
Now, if I was an editor, I would have ended the movie right there.
Yeah?
I would have, because it would have been so Hitchcockian.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Just to end it right there. Just to be like, oh, now you need to rewatch it right now this second. But that's not what happens.
Right.
So we get back. I'm sorry, dude. I'm totally dominating this podcast. I apologize.
It's great.
Oh, cool. Just making sure I'm not talking over you, dude. I just really like this fucking movie. So we go to the hypnotist, right? And she's reading.
Well, they're out in the woods, and it's like snowing and everything.
Yeah, it's in the northern part of South Korea.
Yeah.
And it gets a lot of snow there and shit. They have like Siberian tigers and shit.
Mm-hmm. But he wrote like a letter or a journal entry or whatever to have her read.
He wrote like a letter to her, and it was like a, please, can you assist me? I need to get rehypnotized.
Right.
Because even though I am, less than a beast, don't I deserve the reason to live? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says, I shouldn't help you, but that last line got me.
Yeah.
And then, so now there's a mirror, and it's at Evergreen's apartment, and you see Daisu, and you see, quote unquote, the monster. And the monster is the good looking version of Daisu.
Right.
And she says, the monster is the one who keeps the secret. The Daisu is the one who does not know. And the monster is going to turn around, and for every step he's going to take, he's going to age 1 year until he ages 70, and he's going to die. But don't worry, it'll be a peaceful death. He'll feel no pain. And then, after that, we kind of get a wide out, and we just see Daisu out in the snow, and you see footsteps like someone was there.
Right.
And then you see Mito come over, and she goes, Daisu, you're so cold. Get up, And she holds him, and, there's just like a moment where you see snowfall, and then she goes, I love you, Daisu, and he smiles. What do you think happened? Do you think that they know or they don't know?
They don't know.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they don't know. Like, that's why he wanted to be hypnotized. That's why he wanted the other one to have the secret, the monster.
Do you think she knows, though?
I don't know, because she didn't open the box.
It's true.
She doesn't know, which, like, interpreting it that way makes the ending of the movie, like, crazy dark sort of thing.
Yeah.
That, like, he decided he wanted to be with her.
Yes. Rather than...
Right. Yeah, rather than...
It's a weird question.
Because it's like, yeah, he wanted that erased so he could be with her. So he made a choice to, like, still want to basically hook up with his daughter.
No, but here goes a weird thing. Devil's advocate. We're going to cinema court. I don't have the sound effect.
Yeah, no worries.
Maybe one of the reasons why he chose to do this is because everything was taking away from him, and this is the only good outcome out of any of this.
Okay,
is just to have this relationship.
Right.
The only good outcome of everything, because they're not brain wiped. They just certain things were brain wiped.
True. Yeah.
So maybe it would be better to do this than just erase your whole memory. You might as well commit suicide. I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely a hard question.
It's It's a very would you rather, but it's not a would you rather because this is a 2-hour movie explaining the would you rather.
Right.
So it's very complex. I guarantee you, the first time I seen this till now, every time I see it, I have a different kind of reaction to certain things.
Okay.
Like, most definitely. This is not a once-watch piece.
No, you definitely got to watch it a bunch of times.
Yeah, this is... If you really want to get to know this movie, this is a watch it twice in a month and really think about it between watches.
Right.
You know? And listen to the soundtrack where you're, like, just chilling. So, yeah, that was Oldboy.
Yeah.
Do you want to up your score after talking about it of 90? I know you do. I sold it.
I mean... Maybe a 90, like, I don't know, I guess
that's
95.
Nice over there. I can totally hear that.
I guess maybe 95.
95?
Would be a good one, yeah.
All right, so compared with my 99, that would be what, 6? Shit, I can't do math right now.
We'll say a 97, split the diff.
I'll split the diff.
Split the diff.
I think 97's good. The other problem I have with this is, right before the fight scene, he goes, hey, do any of you dick shits have AB blood? Because he's lost a lot of blood. AB blood can take everything.
Right. AB blood can take everything, and O
can give to anybody.
Anything. Yeah.
It would have been smarter if he said, does anyone have O negative blood?
Right. Yeah, well, maybe that was a translation thing again.
Again, maybe.
Quite possible. But I think, we got a solid score on
actually,
that one.
No, you know what? Yeah, no, yep. We're right. Okay.
Yeah, we're right.
So I haven't done this on any podcast in a minute, but we're going to end this episode with a little band called Heaven's Heels.
Oh, dope. Okay.
They have a song on their album 2 by Knife called Evergreen.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. Nice having you. Good to see you. And
always.
Remember, from all of us, the Knife Party, be kind, rewind. Hey, Antonius, did you got something to do after this?
Yeah, I got to return some tapes.
Inside these walls, there's nothing to believe. Oh, I'm just a toy. There's no truth you can see. You know I've seen a man betrayed. Where the green just an old boy. My fist hit the walls. There's no rational thinking. It's like people you know. You know I've seen a man betrayed. Where the green, he's just an old boy. You know I've seen man betrayed. Where the green, he's just an old boy. So loud and the world lost with you. But cry, you cry alone. Hypnotic suggestion